Hey, I am Tammy, and I am so excited because today I have this beautiful woman named Dee, Dee Hurley. Am I say that's your right way to say your last name?
Yeah.
Okay, I don't know if I've said that before. Um, we met not too long ago, and this is what I love. This is one of my favorite things about life and doing life when we are really connecting to the Creator and on the path that we're supposed to be. God brings people into our lives that are meant to be in our lives in that moment. And they're always about learning and teaching us to be more of who we were created to be. And, Dee, when I met you, I just knew it. There was a connection, a soul connection that was just so, so beautiful. And then the more I got to know you on our trip, we were on a trip together at a Solix convention. And the more we were together, the more I think we just realized how amazing and how on the same path we are. And we have a lot of similarities, a ton. And so I was like, hey, where do we want to take this? We could go take this in so many different areas. And I think the first thing I want to, talk to you about a little bit about is following your path. Your life has kind of taken a turn for the better, I would say, in the last few years, but it wasn't always like that. And what were some of the things that helped you to step into the woman that God created you to be? How did you do that? Where'd you get that strength? That's a big question.
Like we were talking earlier about how things just start to open up when you're on that path, and that's exactly what happened. Like I started hanging around with different people. I don't think they would have hung around with me before in the place I was, but when I started feeling like something needs to change and really looking for that and searching because I knew there was something I needed to fix, it's like those people just started popping up in my life, and there was these beautiful women that started showing up and were encouraging and uplifting and sending me information about how I could better myself. And it was just giving me so much strength. So I knew that I could get out of the toxic environment I was in at the time.
And you were in a toxic relationship, is that right?
Yeah.
And how long were you in that relationship?
It was almost 12 years.
It's a long time. Were you married, or it was just?
Yeah. We were married and had 2 kids together. And I had a kid from a previous marriage, and that one was pretty bad too.
Okay, so hold the train there. You're on your 3rd marriage?
Yeah, it was like I was on a roll. I just kept attracting these toxic men.
Yeah. Okay, I've been married twice as well. I don't know if you know that. And so this is taking a total different twist here, but I'm gonna go here. I have shivers because I am so scared. Like the word marriage freaks me out because I've been married twice. A lot of condemnation, like even though I should not have stayed in those marriages, I have no doubt about that. Like that's not the question here. But how in the world, this is going to sound silly, but I know we all know who this is, Pamela Anderson. But like, this is the thing. She's been married many times. I don't know if you know that about her, but it's easy to judge someone. You're going, what? They were married so many times. Like, what? Are they not committed? Are they what? And she was in an interview and she said, I believe in love. And it hit me in a different way. And I want to believe, because marriage is something that you want. It's because you believe in this, that there is love and that there's another person that you could spend the rest of your life with. How did you get to that point where you could actually start believing in that again? I want to know.
I know. I felt like I had given up after this, and I'll admit something to you. I was married 3 times before I met my husband now. 3 times. And the first 2 didn't last 3 years. And then I was in the one for 11 and a half years because I was so afraid of what everybody would say. The stigma around divorce and being raised in a very strong Christian environment. And I'm not knocking Christianity. It's just, it was instilled in me that there was something wrong with that. And I think that's scary for people that are in an abusive situation. If you're fighting this battle inside, like, I know I should get out, I need to protect myself, but am I going to be judged? Am I going to be condemned?
Yeah.
And the shame. It was the shame of that. And
Unbelievable.
that's actually what my book is about shame and how it started with that. And like it keeps us down and it keeps us in a low vibration energy. And when I was around people who are loving and encouraging and telling me, you know what, God loves you no matter what. It doesn't matter. You know, he wants you to protect yourself. And doesn't the Bible say, love yourself as you love God? You know, how do you love others? Love others as yourself if you can't love yourself enough. We have
Shivers,
to.
because I'm learning that on a whole different level. And I want to add something there. The time when I changed is when I lived in LA. My pastor in LA, he was just an amazing man. And he showed me the love of a man that was the closest to God I'd ever seen. Like, just, he loved on women in a non-perverted, like he'd never crossed the line, you know, and that's rare. Like it just is, let's just say it. And I just remember healing because of love. I've never healed or changed because of feeling judged or condemned or shamed. I've only changed because I felt fully loved and fully accepted where I was at. It reminds me actually of the story in the Bible about this. Sorry, this is just the woman at the well.
Yeah.
You know, and there was no condemnation. There was just love and acceptance. And that's when we walk into the fullness of who we were meant to be on this planet.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think so many times the church gets that wrong. And again, I'm not knocking that, but it is true. We as Christians get that wrong.
And I think women particularly can be very hard on people and judge them. And I think women need to come together and start standing with each other and say, you know what, if you're in a situation that's hurting you, of course you need to get out and we're here for you. And that was the community that surrounded me when I got out. It wasn't a bunch of men. It was like these women who'd been through their stuff and they were there with open arms and were compassionate. And they helped me get out. And I feel like now that's all I want to do. I want to help others. I want to help other women to know that you have every right to protect yourself and your children. And, you know, there's people that are going to be here for you. You're not just going to be left alone. That's what I was scared of, was being left alone and the judgment. But I wasn't. I got out. I found my strength and I'm learning to speak up. And I never thought I would do that in my life. If you asked me just 5 years ago if I would be doing this, oh, hell no. It's like,
I know you have such an amazing anointing on your life to speak. I mean, I saw that when we were on Weekend Away and when I met you, just the strong anointing. It is just beautiful. And I love seeing you walk into that strength with confidence, because it's beautiful to watch. And it's just so obvious to me. And I haven't even known you that long, but it is so apparent to me what your giftings are, and you using that is beautiful. And your relationship now, is it very different? How is it different? And how did, like, I want to know, like, how did you change? How did you break that pattern?
Thank you. And see, you're one of those encouraging women that I feel like just keep coming out lately. It's like once you start changing and glowing and speaking in your truth and who you are, I feel like that's what happens. You start finding your tribe. It's like you start coming.
You attract the people on the same frequency. I believe that completely. And it's just so apparent. Like and then you come around these women that are all wanting to support one another. And on this planet, that is rare. And so when you find that with people, just here, take this. I want to help you. This might be a resource that would help you. This is, a word of encouragement. It is such a beautiful place to be. And that's when we can all start actually, like, coming up with really, really amazing ideas, when we all start working together in our own giftings, right? And stop comparing. Like,
I love it. And that's exactly how I met my husband. I had went on a couple Christian single trips with this group that I found, and they were just amazing. I had went on 2 before I met him. And I just made a bunch of girlfriends on the trip. I connected with all these beautiful women and just became really good friends. And the 3rd trip, see, I kind of felt like I was giving up on love. I was like, I don't want to, this actually came out of my mouth. I was like, I'm tired of looking for love because I keep finding the wrong thing. So maybe I'll find a rich dude, and I'll just go from there.
I've been there. I know what that's like. Yeah. Maybe my sister joked about that. Maybe I'll take him to the team and I'll find some rich old guy. Oh my gosh. I'm just not sure about this love thing. I hear ya.
But I went with this on this third trip, and I was like, I just keep finding these wonderful, amazing people that I'm connecting with. I'm just gonna go this time and just love on myself because I need it so much. I know I need to just love myself more and work on more self-acceptance and my self-esteem. And that's when I met my husband now, and doesn't come with money bags. It's like the opposite, but it's full of all the love. So, and I've never been loved like that. It is shocking to be loved like that. I remember one time he actually brought me a cup of hot tea. I was sitting there on the couch one day, not feeling well, and he comes around the corner with this little cup of hot tea and honey, and he's like, "Here, honey, maybe you should drink this. It'll help you feel better." And I bursted out in tears. And he's like, "What is wrong? What did I do? You don't like tea?" And I was like, "Do you know how many times I've been in relationships? He knows my past. I have never once in my life had any man bring me a cup of tea. Ever."
I can relate 100%, 100%. To be cared for with those little things. I have never had that before either until now. And it is so shocking. And it means, like, I get it.
Yeah.
Love is in the details.
It is. You see these little tiny things that they're so moving. And I'm like, wow. So this is what it's like to be loved. It's reciprocated. I'm so used to being the one that gave, and when my energies were just drained, constantly trying to make them happy. And then finally you learn that you cannot make anyone else happy. They have to find that themselves. We can't do that for them. Why did it take me so long to figure this out?
Because you're a caring person, and that's exactly it. When you care and you're a loving person, you really want to believe the best in people. You do, and you care and you love doing that. But yeah, you need it back too. And that's oh, good for you. That's incredible. I love that. Let's talk a little bit more about, because I know we agree so much on this, in your energy and your frequency. People use different terms, but like, you attract what you are.
Yeah.
Let's talk. We both use the AO scan from Solex. What's your favorite way to use that device to help with your vibration or your frequency, however you want to say it? And this isn't kooky stuff, you guys. This is real stuff. This is your energy. And let's just say this first. Who knows, like, if you're an empathetic person, like, I can go in a room and I know exactly what everybody's feeling. That's what frequency is. So we want to attract people that are on the same frequency. What happens with empaths or people like us that really care a lot, we often will go to the weaker to help them and pull them up, which that's fine to want to help people. But at the same time, you still need to have people on the same frequency. And I don't know about you, maybe I'm speaking too much for you, but that's what I always did. I was always look for the weaker, always help, which that's wonderful. That's my heart, but I still have to have people on the same level so that I keep rising to my full potential. Does that make sense to you?
So true. Exactly. And if you're around and you're staying down here a lot, you're going to start picking up all those frequencies. As empaths, we take it all on. And then we're carrying around absorbed energies from other people. And like Dr. Bradley talks about in his book, you can pick it up from watching a movie. You're relating to the character, and all of a sudden you're crying, and you're like, and you got this emotion you're carrying around with, wondering why you feel yucky for a little while. It's like, shake it off.
Yeah, it is powerful. We pick up different people's energy. That is so true. And I mean, we've heard this 100 times. Who you hang out with, like, you are the sum of the 5 people that you hang out with, all that stuff. But I think we don't really think about it deep enough. And I know when I'm in a kind of a grumpy mood, or just not on, I will pay a certain set of SEFI frequencies that I have programmed into my device, and I will seriously notice a difference. And I will do it actually with people not knowing that I'm doing it with my kids. I'm like, let me play this for you, but I don't tell them. And I'll notice a change in the way that they're responding. It really makes a difference.
Yeah, it does. When I'm working with my clients, we usually meet over Zoom because it works anyway because it's energy. And a lot of times they won't even know. I'll have my scanner just laying there right by my computer, and I'll be sending frequencies for clearing the energy, for shielding. I do that on myself first before I work on them so that I'm shielded and I don't want to pick up their stuff. And I'm just sending it the whole time I'm working on them too, to help with the energy healing session. And I've had a lot of good results adding that with my sessions as well. They don't know my little secret sometimes.
I believe that. I believe that. And I think that's something that I have missed and haven't done enough of, because one of the reasons that I cut down on my practice was it was just finding it so draining. And by putting up those shields, right? And what I would, I have a lot of Christians that follow me, what I would compare it to is a hedge of protection, right? You need that hedge of protection, because when you are working and helping someone heal, empathy is a really great tool to have with it, because you can feel what they're feeling. And so you know where to go. But exactly, we want to be so careful that we don't take on those energies.
Yeah. And you know what's funny? Because a lot of times whenever I post something on social media about it, it's usually the Christians who are one that say something negative about it. Like, oh, how come you don't pray? How come you don't go to Jesus and stuff? And I got to thinking, doesn't he give us a mind to think with? And didn't he speak with his words, spoke things into existence? And there's
he is all about frequencies. He created the world with frequencies. I just had a friend say that to me. She goes, I wanted to, and she might be watching this, but I want to get it, but then I think, why wouldn't Jesus just heal us? And then I said this, and you might want to add to this, but I'm like, I believe that God gave us this tool for this time and this era, because this is what we need. And I mean, G5 and or 5G, sorry, whatever it is, all this stuff out there, there is more frequencies fighting against us. That's real. We understand that. So why wouldn't we understand that we would fight those with frequencies?
Right.
It doesn't make sense to me that this becomes I don't understand that take, really. Do we say that about penicillin when we need penicillin and it saves your life? Well, I'm going to just believe in prayer. God gave us the penicillin to use. That was him. It's like that story about the boat. You know the one about the boat? The guy's drowning.
Yes.
And God sends him a boat. He says, no, I'm waiting for God. God's going to save me. Another boat he drowns, he goes to heaven. He's like, God, why didn't you save me? I sent you 3 boats, buddy. You know, it's the same thing.
And you made me think of Goliath, all these, you know, what did he do? Gave him a stone.
That's good. That's good. Yes. It's even better than my big long story there. But
he gives us all tools. We have tools.
We have tools. I love that. Yeah, I love that. And I love seeing women walk into their calling. It is just the most beautiful, beautiful, beautiful thing. So what's up next for you? Tell me what your plan is with your business and where you're all going. We all want to know, and how can we support you?
So I'm working on my book. I'm really getting into it, and my husband's helping me. He's so supportive. He's already written a book, so he knows. So he's been kind of setting me up, and like, you need to spend a couple hours a day just doing your book. So I'm trying to do that. And, you know, it's difficult because you get into it and you're trying to remember things and tell your story and be as detailed as you can. And then your mind doesn't know sometimes if it's the first time you're doing it or you're going through it again. So I have to be real careful, because I'm telling things that have happened, and then it drains me again, because I'm like in that spot again where something happened. So it's a process. It's like you have to stop, work on yourself, and make sure you're not running into another activity where you're going to have that energy with you, because you don't want to carry that around, you know?
Yeah, no, it is a healing process. It is so true when we're writing. It is. And that good for you for going through it, because you're healing another layer, and that takes so much guts. That's hard.
Thank you. I'm hoping that it'll help somebody if they hear that story. And yeah, you know, the shame, that's what I want to name it, the shame of it all, and how to heal from narcissistic abuse with holistic healing. I don't know how to put all that in there, but it's going to be like something in there. So
our story's so similar. It's unbelievable. I love it. Like I that's why we connected so much. And it's just, how do you heal from that? I know for myself, I see little things and little reactions, or I notice little ways that I'm responding differently. And I'm like, yay, that's a sign of healing, right? Like there was something small. Let's give an example. So I couldn't bring my boyfriend coffee. It sounds like the dumbest thing. And then I was like, why can I not? I couldn't remember what he wanted in his coffee. Like, it had been months. And I was like, this is ridiculous. What is this? And I was praying about it, and I was brought to mind because I could never do anything right in my past relationship. It was always wrong. So I had such a fear, and it was gripping me. And so I couldn't remember. And I tend to block. I don't know about you.
Yes.
I'll block. If anything is negative, I just block it. I don't like any negativity. I don't like any conflict, right? Because it scares me because there's been
Yep.
so much
Conflict
unhealthy,
avoidant.
like,
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Yep.
And so I'll do anything to not do it. But what happens is when we're tippy-toeing like that, we cannot fully be who we are.
Yeah.
And so we're not even showing the person who we truly are. And so the relationship is shaky,
Yeah.
right? Because the more we act in who we truly are, you know, and I would get so scared of ever causing any issues that might rock the boat, like bringing the wrong coffee, like ridiculous, right? But it's trauma stuck in the body, right? And releasing that trauma. Hey, and isn't there, do you use the emotion? Like, do you remove the emotions with the AO scan? Do you use it for that?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Definitely. And I was gonna say, the first relationship after the toxic one, they say, is usually the hardest because you're learning that everything just changes. You have a whole new environment. Sorry.
That is, I did not know that that's what they say, and that makes sense to me. And because you're relearning who you are. Like, I'm like, who am I? Like, honestly, I don't even think I had an opinion for the first year because I didn't know who I was.
Still trying to figure out who you are. Yeah.
Yeah. And and then when you find, all of a sudden I'm like, hey, I like this girl. This is the little girl I knew like way back when that girl was fun. She was fun to play with.
Yeah.
You know, like when you're a little girl, and I can't, like, this is gonna sound silly, but I actually can picture you and I playing together when we were little girls. Like, and that shows me how healed you are, Dee.
Yeah.
And it shows me how healed I am because I can see that the walls are down between us. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yep.
And so we can be so authentic with each other. And there is such freedom in that. And I believe, this is a strong statement, but I believe the greatest need of a human being is to be fully known and still loved and accepted.
Yes. Yes.
And that is what you do so well. And that is just beautiful.
You do too. You do too, Tammy. It's been such a blessing getting to know you.
Me too. Okay, well, we're going to look for that book. And you're still doing your healing business and stuff like that too, right?
Yes. Yes, I'm doing emotion code and body code, and I love everything that's coming out with the Solex company. They're right time, right place, aren't they? Just bringing all the tools we need right now for all the things that we're being bombarded with.
I totally agree. Well, thanks for sharing a little bit of your story. I know there are going to be women that resonate and can take something from this and just know that they're not alone. And I love to see you walking into that, writing that book, because I do believe that God uses all of our pain when we let him, and it is to help others walk through that same journey. And it's a beautiful time in life, right? Like, well, I'm not in my 40s anymore, but you're still in your 40s. And I believe it is a time when us women,
Yes,
we're not dead and done at 40 and 50.
Right.
Now is the time when we are, you know, our babies are getting a little older. They can do a bit of this stuff their own. And now it is time to actually impact the younger with the wisdom that we have gained. Because that is something that in our society here in America, it just sometimes I feel like we're just throwing away the old. And we're missing these wise women and men that have lived so long. And I'm on a mission to change that narrative and say us older women have something to share, and it is worth sharing, and the rest can learn from it. So thank you.
That's right. I love it. Thank you. It's beautiful. I'm so happy we can